which is former President Thabo Mbeki has been on the campaign trail, promising Soweto residents that individuals within his party, the ANC, who are corrupt, will be ousted from the party. He's been campaigning in the township today ahead of next month's national and provincial elections. Mbeki says he is well aware of the problems facing the ANC. Political analyst Sandile Swana joins us now to weigh in on this. Dr. Swana, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. When you look at the decision to campaign for the African National Congress by former President Thabo Mbeki, who for a while has not said out openly that he will do so, this time around we know definitely that he has come out and actually done so. Is this consistent in terms of his messaging to what he's been critical of in the party, the infiltration of particular cadres who are really not cadres, who are just in the party because of economic reasons, and this has resulted in rent-seeking and individuals are corrupt and so on and so forth?
Yeah, thank you and good evening to you, Thabo, and the viewers of Newzroom. You will remember that Thabo Mbeki wrote a letter last year. In that letter to Paul Mashatile, he raised some issues, but one of the issues that he raised in that letter was that the surveys conducted by the ANC among its own supporters discovered that 55% of the supporters of the ANC do not trust what the ANC says. Thabo Mbeki himself, at this point in time, has been sending mixed messages to the public. The truth of the matter is that Thabo Mbeki was told in 2008 by the ANC, and he accepted that he is unfit to represent the ANC. And when they invited him to the campaign trail, he told them that, guys, you can't send me to the campaign trail when you know that I'm unfit. That statement on his part and on the part of the ANC, that he is unfit, because, I mean, it's quite an embarrassment to be recalled as president. And history has shown that he was recalled even without just cause by the very counter-revolutionaries that he's complaining about and actually supporting today. The counter-revolution that he mentioned in the letter that he wrote included Phala Phala as in the counter-revolution. He included Kandla in the counter-revolution. He included the sabotage of Eskom as part of the counter-revolution. So the people who are part of this counter-revolution are part and parcel of the African National Congress. And he is now campaigning and asking the supporters, 10 million supporters or so of the ANC, to go and vote for the counter-revolution.
There is a sense that during the peak of his time then and how the ANC would have treated him, there is a portion of the so-called black middle class that would have been strong supporters of our President Thabo Mbeki. And a large number of them maybe stayed home and didn't go vote, while 2 million or so at the time went and voted with COPE. Where is that constituency today?
I think there's a lot that has happened. I won't be able to pinpoint, but I would venture to say that some of those intellectuals and middle class that they are talking about are definitely with the EFF. There would be a smaller portion, perhaps not so significant, that would today be supporting Mashaba and those sort of guys. Maybe some have remained. I mean, COPE recently, COPE, I don't know if COPE will make it through this particular set of elections. So we are correct in saying that there are some who retired completely from voting. Some are definitely with the EFF. Maybe some are with Mashaba. Those to me would be the broad. Obviously, in KZN, you always have a problem of people shifting between the IFP and the ANC.
So the idea that he can return and certainly still hold that degree of influence with that constituency, is it a far-fetched idea?
No, the idea is far-fetched. And Thabo Mbeki is one of those guys who needs to be very, very careful. He must not think that he is comparable to Jacob Zuma. Thabo Mbeki is a nerd, is a bookworm, is a cold intellectual, and the only thing that made the ANC to win more votes during his term was the superior performance that has never been repeated anywhere in South Africa, that he displayed in mastering GDP growth, and many other facets. I mean, how he handled the NEPAD and the international relations and the standing of South Africa. There's a lot of good work that he did. Not to say he didn't make other mistakes that were detrimental to the black population. He did. On the land question, on the vocational skills, I mean, he sold us out completely as black people on the question of vocational skills. He sold us out on the university education. And so on and so forth. There's a number of areas, but overall, his performance was superior, and it has not been repeated. Probably was the best performing president since 1960, if you ask me. But it does not have the personality that Zuma has. There are people who follow Zuma personally. There are very few who follow Mbeki personally.
Does he honestly believe, as what he's been saying on the campaign trail, that the ANC is getting rid of the corrupt elements within the party?
The unfortunate thing with statements like that is that, first of all, Advocate Pretorius, who was the evidence leader of the Zondo Commission, he spoke at the Gibbs, the University of Pretoria Business School, and said that since the Zondo Commission closed down, the state capture has escalated. And now you must remember that the Gupta family, Bosasa, and so on, were actually a very small fraction of state capture. There's a lot of state capture that is pursued by white monopoly capital, and more state capture that is pursued by the McKinseys, the KPMGs, the large multinational corporations. And the type of ANC member and leader, office bearers and so on, who are there in the ANC are always looking for people with whom to do corrupt deals. So that is why, I mean, the likes of Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula, I mean, almost every week you get a new scandal somewhere. Some ANC leader, some deployee is launching a new scandal. The NPA, if we're all to be sincere, the NPA is not coping morally with the job of identifying, prosecuting successfully the people who are pursuing state capture, all the stripping of the infrastructure, the stripping of ESCOM infrastructure, Transnet infrastructure. The NPA is not coping, the SIU is not coping. We are nowhere near starting to get rid of corruption in the ANC, in the state, in the municipalities, everywhere. No, that is not true. We should not accept such a thing.
Is it therefore this action? I mean, others are saying, in fact, a large number of the likes of former President Thabo Mbeki, who, if you were to ask them 10 years ago, would have said, actually, we want the ANC to lose. Now that there is this potential of what they call the stealing of the heritage of the African National Congress via the Umkhonto weSizwe party, have now been revived to wake up, if for anything else, to protect that heritage?
I don't know about that. I think that's a far-fetched idea. You will remember that if you go back to people, and there have been some people who have been abused and violated in the most brutal fashion, General Bandolo Misa being one of them. General Bandolo Misa cautioned the ANC and was one of the most popular leaders of the ANC, cautioned Mandela, cautioned Thabo Mbeki, cautioned Steve Tshwete, who were very involved in corruption at the very early stages. And Professor Patrick Bond has also written an article on this and documented the activities of these people. So these three that I have mentioned. So had they listened to General Bantu Misa, whom they did not listen to, they expelled him like a dog from the ANC. And they are still bitter towards him for telling them to stop corruption. So when you look at the Seriti Commission, which Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki used to try and cover up the arms deal, the judges said that thing we must consider it to have not happened at all. Not happened at all to clear that the arms deal was clear. So Thabo Mbeki has been involved in corruption. Jacob Zuma, who leads the other faction of the ANC and has got similar credentials, there's nothing better that Thabo Mbeki has over Jacob Zuma in terms of claiming the heritage of the ANC. Both of them have got exactly the same credentials. Cyril Ramaphosa comes into the picture. He's got his own scandal, including Phala. So for any one of these three to say they are protecting the legacy of Oliver Tambo, a legacy of Luthuli and so on, they have a right to do so, but the thing that they are trying to protect Luthuli from is exactly what they are doing. Their actions, they are corrupt actions themselves. They are trying to now rescue the ANC from their corrupt actions and the corruption of other ANC leaders and ANC members that they've tolerated over time.
We've seen, for example, in one international interview, the other from President Kgalema Motlanthe saying actually he would want the ANC to lose to catch a wake-up call. We see now this president coming back and campaigning for the ANC. How do these things affect their own, I suppose, legacies?
Well, I don't know, for instance, whether there's an honest person who can have a favorable legacy of Kgalema Motlanthe. I think it would be a complete dishonesty and a misreading of history and publicly available records to say that there's a good legacy of Kgalema Motlanthe in South Africa. This is the reason why I'm saying this. Reason number one, when Advocate Ngwako Ramatlhodi testified to the Zondo Commission, he highlighted that it was actually under the leadership of Kgalema Motlanthe that two committees were formed, including Judge Willem Heath, Lindiwe Sisulu, Tony Yengeni, and others, to protect Zuma from the charges of the arms deal and the rape case that he had, which they did successfully. And shortly after the Polokwane conference, they closed down the Scorpions without any moral justification. And it was not to the benefit of South Africans. And Kgalema Motlanthe oversaw, with others, the likes of Jinwala, the removal of Pikoli, Advocate Pikoli, as the head of the NPA, in order, all of that done in order to protect Zuma from legitimate trial of the arms deal. So those are some of the things. When you go back to and listen to Kgalema's speeches, during his term of office, there are two things that he said. He said that the branches of the ANC are in a palace state, He then said that the corruption in January 2000, he said that the corruption that is here in South Africa is everywhere. It is in the municipalities, it is in provincial government, it is in national government, it is in the ANC itself. And it is the comrades of the ANC that start projects in all these spheres of government, not because the community has got any need, but because the comrades want to make money. Comrades in the ANC, and this is being said by the Secretary General Kgalema Motlanthe at the time. Instead of stopping this, till today he has not stopped this, and he has not succeeded in stopping it if he has tried at all. And the only thing he could come up with was that perhaps the ANC must be removed from government in order that it is no longer an avenue for people to get access to tenders. But he himself has not done anything that has borne results, that is credible, to actually remove these people from the ANC, because what was needed was to remove the thieves and the liars from the ANC itself. so that the ANC becomes an organization that has got a revolutionary mission rather than become the revolutionary mission.
That is one. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on and your analysis this evening. Political analyst there, Sandile Swana. More news after the breaks.